Hi, my name is Laura Mehl.
And I'm Nadia Rashan.
And this is To My Younger Artist,
a podcast where we, as performing artists and teachers, talk about what we wish we would have known when we were younger artists.
You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at To My Younger Artist Pod.
And we can't wait to share this with you.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back to My Younger Artist. My name is Renee Mehl, and you are here for one of our solo episodes. If you've been around for a little bit, then you know that normally it is I and Nadia talking back and forth about theater things. But today you are getting just me, and I'm happy to be here. Today we are going to talk about complacency. So first off, what is complacency? The definition of complacency is whenever we are feeling... the definition is smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. So you could also see in the Britannica dictionary, it says a feeling of being satisfied with how things are and not wanting to try to make them better. Cool. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is the older I get, the more I really find myself railing against this idea of complacency, because I think that it is very easy to fall into. It's very easy to fall into it in a myriad of ways. Myriad means a bunch, right? First off, it can happen as a performer, right? So as a performer, you could see it like, I'm only being seen for these kind of shows. I'm only being seen for these kind of roles. That's okay. I'm cool with that. I don't want to fix it. Even if on the inside, you're not really cool with it. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I can accept that. That's fine. You might find this in like a life way where it's with a partner that you feel complacent with. It might be a living situation that you feel complacent with. When things happen that we decide we can be satisfied with those things or not. And when you're younger, I think there are certain things that we kind of say, yeah, I can deal with that, or I can accept that, and that's fine. And then as you get older, I find that there are things that you cannot accept or will not accept, and you didn't realize what they were until you were older, if that makes sense. And it's a really interesting journey because I wish I had known this when I was younger. Something that bothers me, I should probably sit with it and see why it bothers me. Instead of assuming, well, it's not that big of a deal, I can move past it. It's like, actually, maybe we sit with that and find out why that bothers you or in what way you want to change that. So I bring that up as an artist because of the fact that often we as performers are not in control of how the world sees us. Like we are to an extent, but then we run into physical stereotypes or like types. So like, when you see me, I am 5'2", which is not tall. So I often get put into the track of being a child, right? And even though I am over 30, I am still put into the track of being a child. I also often will be, some people say is an asset. I have mixed feelings about as a side note on that because of the fact that you also as a person are going to want to at some point play your age. There is something beautiful about being able to play a character that is your age or at least close to your age because it's something that doesn't require you to draw on memory or stereotypes. And not that you have to lean into stereotypes, but often you'll find that whenever people play younger people, they will lean into what they hear other people say children are like these days, things like that. Like usually it's like a high schooler that I'll be called in for. And it makes a lot of sense. I know I look really young other than the wrinkles on my forehead. But it kind of it's harder, I think, to honestly respond to emotionally how I would have responded as a 16-year-old. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because that may mean more research for me. But it also means that I have to sit with the fact that right now, sometimes people would like to put me on stage and let me play young, right? And it makes you feel limited, I think. And I think that happens to a lot of performers in different ways. Some people get it by only playing the villain. Hi, my lovely baritones. You get shoved into villain roles and you get shoved into like dad roles. And that's pretty much it. Half the time you don't even get to be a dad because of the fact that they write that for tenors. They also write a lot of leading man roles for tenors. And this is just something that happens within the industry, right? That we feel like is our role in life. And sometimes, like, let's be real. If you want to play the villain, go play the villain. That sounds like fun. But sometimes there are also times when you're going to want to be able to do something else because you're a multifaceted human being who's incredibly complicated and not stodgy and stuck in like one definition of something. So like for me, because I am small and adorable, I often would never get cast as the villain, whereas I would love to play the villain. Somebody please let me be an unexpected villain. Like that would be so fun and interesting and crazy. And I think one of the dangers of complacency within types and within the theater is that you stop challenging yourself. You can stop challenging yourself as an actor. You can stop challenging yourself as a vocalist. You can stop challenging yourself to create art. I was talking with Alex the other day, Alex Parrish, about like performing and performers, specifically whenever you are younger and you listen to someone's version of something, right? So let's say that you watch the movie version of Into the Woods and you really love how a certain person does an interpretation of this song. But then what happens is you are no longer an artist, you become a copycat. And then sometimes you even actually sing wrong notes because you're copying what that person did. And there are some wrong notes in that movie. They just are. That's not what Sondheim wrote. I don't know what to tell you. And obviously, like, he signed off on it, accepted it, and it's cool because he always was for acting over everything, which I think is absolutely beautiful. But if you can go and sit and plunk out your vocal line and say, okay, this does this and this does this, especially Little Red. Especially Little Red. I actually don't know if her movie version is correct. I just know from experience, Little Red, in general, that vocal line is bananas. And there are sections where I was surprised the first time I sat down and plunked it out. I was absolutely shocked because it was not what I had been hearing on any recording. And I think whenever we challenge ourselves to be more of a artist and go back to the source material, go back to what was originally created and then make your own version of it, that is so much more beautiful than being a copy of someone else's art. And there is something to be said for like taking inspiration from things, especially like if you've ever read the book Steal Like an Artist. Lovely book, really cute, and also very valid and helpful because there is no such thing as an original thought. Sorry, we've been around here for hundreds of thousands of years. Now you're going to do your own version of it and a twist on it, right? And your spirit is original. But most of the time, whenever we have an idea, it's probably already been done. And guess what? That's okay. That is okay because it's not your version of it and it doesn't have your energy behind it. So if it is reminiscent of this person's choice in this song, that is fine. Now, if it's a copy and I hear in your intonation and like everything, like inflection, that it is basically like you're trying to be Meryl Streep, then are you being a beautiful artist or are you being a copy of Meryl Streep? And to be honest, like you could pick something worse to copy because she's magical. But it's that reminding yourself that you could accept what has already been done and be complacent in that and be like, great, I'm just going to be a copy of this. Or you can challenge yourself to go back to the source material and do your own thing, right? And go even further to challenge yourself and say, I know I normally, for me, get called in for Little Red. You know what I'm going to do? I really want to be the witch. I want to be the witch so bad. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to the witch's original source material and I'm going to learn that. And I'm going to sit with it and see how I respond to the material compared to how other people do. Literally did that the other day for fun. And it was one of the best exercises I've done in a long time because I find, especially right before audition season and or in the holiday season, I can get really complacent with myself because there are some auditions that come in, but you're not doing something every single day, which honestly is probably good because that gets exhausting, but it kind of changes your perspective a little bit whenever you take the time to still find joy and excitement in the thing that you do. And I think that that's also why we end up with a lot of artists who are like in theater and otherwise, who are really, really in love with learning, because of the fact that it sparks something different in you. It sparks something new in you, and it makes you want to be creative. And often when you get older, you get out of school, or even when you're in school, you might be like, I am so done with learning because you're tired. And I honestly think that complacency comes from being tired. Side note. I heard a quote the other day on Instagram, and it was from a woman who was over 50 to anyone in their 30s. And she was essentially saying, like, whenever you get in your 30s, you really look back and you look at all the lies that you told yourself in your 20s, which is kind of what this complacency is about. It's everything you're like sitting with, right? And making the decision that you are cool with that or you're not cool with that. And you don't, like, maybe you want something more for your life. And one of the things that she was saying is that when you are tired and you find that you are tired, it's probably not that you're tired. It's probably that you're putting your energy in the wrong place. And so the energy is not coming back to you. It's actually being sucked from you into something else that does not give you energy back. And I think that honestly, complacency often comes from being tired. It comes from being exhausted, either with your soul or with your energy or with your emotions. That's also part of it, where you might just feel worn out because you are giving and you are not getting it back. And I think that is one of the hugest things to take into your time as an artist, however long it is, if it's your entire life or if it's a few years. Hopefully it's your entire life that you invest in yourself as an artist. But if you find that you are complacent, I think taking a step back and looking at where you're putting your energy, what is important to you, what you're making a priority. And that can be, that by the way, could be anything. Like, it could be good, it could be bad, but take a step back and look at it and see if it is benefiting you or if it is pushing you more into complacency, which is just accepting how things are and not wanting to make them better, right? And I think as a true artist, one of the crazy things that we experience is the desire to continue. We talked about like the desire for education and the desire to learn, because that's so important, that you want to feed into yourself over and over and over again, but also in that desire to find something more out of life, to not feel stuck and to feel like what you're doing makes a difference, whether it's in your life, whether it's in your art, whether it's in somebody else's life, knowing that what you are creating means something. Your existence means something, I think is one of the biggest reasons why people become artists, one of the reasons why people do anything, because they want to know that their life has meaning. And it's almost like to give up on that and be complacent causes you to give up on your life feeling like it means something. Now, you can know that you can be settled and you can be happy and you can sit in your own power and feel good about that. That is not complacency whatsoever. What I mean, again, to define that even a little deeper, is whenever you accept an outcome that you know is fine, you're okay with, but does not bring you joy, does not make you excited to get out of bed in the morning, does not make you feel like you are living to your fullest potential. And I think there are time periods where we have to do that, but those time periods, my husband and I often call them survival mode. And I think right now, especially in the world, we are taught that survival mode is normal. Survival mode is not normal. It's not. There is a possibility of living a life where you can get up every single day and be happy and excited. And there are going to be days that are trash. That's just real. There's no such thing as like, no matter where you are, no matter what your job is, no matter how you live, there are going to be days that are not going to be good. Right. But I would say like 95% of the time, 90% of the time, you get up and you're like, I am so looking forward to this day. I'm so fulfilled. I am challenging myself. I'm trying new things. I feel so brave. Those are the days when I'd say you're not giving into complacency whatsoever. And I say all of this to hopefully encourage us and rally us as artists to feed back into ourselves, to not settle, to not accept certain things that are happening politically right now that are like affecting our industry insanely, and people are not able to make art the way they used to, and or are not allowed to be themselves and tell the stories they need to tell. And we can't accept that, because when I'm gonna cry, when we accept that, then we're defeated. And I refuse to believe that we as artists are defeated right now, even when things are dark and hard. I refuse to accept complacency. I refuse to be miserable. And I want so much to live a life filled with joy, and I want that for each and every one of you. I want that for every person I meet, like quite honestly. Because whenever we are filled with joy, we are filled with yearning, searching, being a child, and like having childlike wonder in your soul, you are a better person, which makes a better world. So even if you're feeling stuck, maybe play with your childlike tendencies. Maybe draw a picture or create some art, even if it's bad. Who cares? Try something. Be brave. Bring your brain back online, and don't just sit with and accept the same mind rot, brain rot every single day that is spoon-fed to us, because I think that our life would be filled with so much joy if we continue to challenge ourselves and show up for ourselves in the way that we deserve. Okay, that's my spiel. Big old long talk, lots of feelings, as always. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, if you're watching it on YouTube. And as always, you can like and subscribe and do all the things on YouTube at To My Younger Artist Pod, or you can go on Instagram at To My Younger Artist Pod and follow us. Give us some messages if there's something you wish that we would talk about, or something that you feel like needs to be talked about more. We do not gatekeep, because we love you guys and want to share everything that we can, so that you can grow and be stronger people and learn from our mistakes, so that you can make your own. All right. Love you guys. Mean it. Challenge yourself. Be brave. See you later.
This episode of To My Younger Artist was hosted by Laura, Renee, Mehl, with music by Laura and all edits done by Dustin, Ciano. Thanks for listening.